We are going to start our Topic 3 review. Please follow along and take any notes in your notebook, or you can write on your paper if you have room. Problem 1. Rachel set up a display placing 126 painted rocks in each of 3 rows. How many rocks are in Rachel's display? Choose numbers from the box to complete and solve the equation. In this problem, we are going to be using partial products. We can tell because there are boxes set up for us to find our final answer. Start with your ones place. We're first going to do 6 times 3. And 6 times 3 is 18, so that would be the first number that we would choose from the box. Next, we are going to do the tens place, so we are going to multiply 3 times the 2, which is actually 20. So 3 times 20 is 60. Last, we are going to multiply 3 times the 1, which is actually 100. And 3 times 100 is 300. Then we are going to add up our numbers, and we have 8, a 7, and a 3. So 378. You are welcome to try any of these problems on your own and then check your work, or you can do the work with me. Number 2. Alberto rode the train 198 miles, round trip 4 times last month. Use compensation to find the total distance Alberto traveled. Explain. Do not worry about compensation. Just go ahead and multiply 198 times 4 because it said he rode the train 198 miles 4 round trips, and we want to find out how far he traveled. To multiply this problem, I am going to first multiply the ones place. 4 times 8 is 32, so put down your 2 and regroup your 3. Next, we're going to do 4 times 9 is 36, plus 3 more is 39. Write down your 9, regroup your 3. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. So he traveled 792 miles. If you wanted to use compensation, we could change 198 to 200 and multiply that times 4. We would get 800. Since we're not really using 200, we're using 198, we would need to figure out 200 minus 198, which is 2, and we did that 4 times, so 4 times 2 is 8, and we could take 8,000 and subtract 8, and we would get 792. If that confuses you, go ahead and continue to do it the way that makes the most sense to you. Number 3. Mr. Ort sells tortillas in bags of 25 and in bags of 50. If he sells 4 bags of 50, how many tortillas did Mr. Ort sell? Let's underline the question. We want to know how many tortillas Mr. Ort sell. We do not need to know that he sells tortillas in bags of 25 and in bags of 50. But we do need to know that if he sells 4 bags of 50, how much will he make? So I'm going to set up the problem. 4 bags of 50, so 4 times 50. Underline your basic fact. 4 times 5 would be 20, and then make sure that you add the 0 on, so our answer would be 200 tortillas. Number 4. The Amnell family spends $1,874 for rent each month. How much does the family spend in 3 months? We're going to set up this problem as a multiplication problem because if they spend $1,874 for 1 month, we want to know how much they spent in 3 months. So we have 1,874 times 3. I'm going to start by multiplying my ones place. 4 times 3 is 12. I'm going to write my 2 and regroup my 1. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 1 more is 22. Write down your 2, regroup your 2. 3 times 8 is 24, plus 2 more is 26. Regroup your 2. And 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So we have our answer. They spend, and make sure you put a dollar sign because that would be our label, $5,622 per month. Number 5. A science class is growing some fruit and vegetable plants on a plot of land behind their school. Each section is laid out in rows. Here is the chart we're going to use. Part A. There are 9 strawberry plants planted in each row. Write and solve an equation to find how many strawberry plants were planted. Remember, when we write an equation, we need to use an equal sign. This is asking us to write and solve an equation to find out how many strawberry plants were planted. So we're going to look at our strawberry plants, and it looks like there are 65 rows. In our question, it says that there are 9 strawberry plants planted in each row. So we need to multiply. 65 times 9 is going to equal our answer. So we're going to write that out. 65. Start that over. Sorry, guys. 65 times 9. I know that 9 times 5 is 45. I'm going to put down my 5 and regroup my 4. 9 times 6 is 54, plus 4 more is 58. So we have 585 strawberry plants. Please make sure you put your label. You can go ahead and cross off part B. Number 6. Please make sure you understand this one, and if you have any questions, circle it and go back to it later because there is one almost identical to this on your test. Select all the expressions that can be used to find the area of a field that is 1,235 yards long and 9 yards wide. If we were going to be using the distributive property and we were going to be writing out 1,235 times 9, we would distribute the larger number, or we would write it in expanded form as 1,000 plus 200 plus 30 plus 5. And we would have to multiply all these parts by 9. If we look at our first option, it says 9 times 1,000 plus 200 plus 20 plus 5. Well, we want to add 30, not 20. So the first option would not work. Although this second one would, because it expanded 1,235 into 1,000 plus 200 plus 30 plus 5. Then we're multiplying it by 9. This next one would also work because when we multiply, we have to multiply 9 times 1,000, then 9 times 200, then 9 times 30, then 9 times 5. So this second one would also work. This one would work as well because we are multiplying 9 times 1,235. The last option would not work because it's asking us to add 9, not multiply 9, and we would not get the same answer. You can cross off number 7. Number 8. Tickets cost $1,182 each. Find the cost for 3 tickets. Explain how you know your answer is reasonable. 1,182 times 3, because each ticket costs $1,182 and we're going to buy 3 of them. We want to also explain how we know if our answer is reasonable. So if we're going to multiply this, 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 8 is 24. Put down your 4, regroup your 2. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5, and 3 times 1 is 3. So we have a total of $3,546. If we want to know if our answer is reasonable, we can estimate. So we can estimate 1,182. I'm going to round that to the nearest hundreds place. So 1,200. The 1 goes up to a 2 because we're going to look to our digit to the right, and it's an 8, so it will push the number up. And we're going to multiply that times 3. And I know that 12 times 3 is 36. Add my 2 zeros, so 3,600. And 3,600 is close to 3,546. So our answer is reasonable. Number 9. The table shows the number of hot drinks sold in a busy coffee shop in 1 week. Here is the table we're going to be looking at. Part A. If the same number of cups of coffee were sold for 6 weeks in a row, how many cups would be sold in all? So right now, we are just going to look at coffee. And we have 835 cups of coffee sold in 1 week. If we want to find out how much coffee is sold in 6 weeks, we are going to do 835 times 6. To multiply this, start with your 1s. 5 times 6 is 30. Put down your 0 and regroup your 3. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 plus 3 is 21. Put your 1, regroup your 2. 6 times 8 is 48. Plus 2 is 50. So we have 5,010 cups of coffee sold in 6 weeks. All right, part B. If the same number were sold each week, how many lattes and cappuccinos would be sold in 4 weeks? Explain. So now we're looking at lattes and cappuccinos. This is a 2-step problem. First, we have to find out how many lattes and cappuccinos were sold in 1 week. Then we need to multiply it by 4 to find out how many were sold in 4 weeks. So if I'm going to find out how many latte and cappuccinos were sold, first we're going to add 567 plus 139, because 567 represents the lattes and 139 represents the cappuccinos. I'm going to add 7 plus 9 is 16. Write down your 6 and regroup your 1. 3 plus 6 is 9, plus 1 more is 10. Put down your 0, regroup your 1. 5 plus 1 is 7. So we have 706 lattes and cappuccinos. So now for our second part of the problem, we're going to take, I'm just going to draw a line to kind of separate it, 706 drinks, and we're going to multiply that times the 4 weeks. 6 times 4 is 24. Put your 4, regroup your 2. 4 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2, and 4 times 7 is 28. So we have 2,824 drinks. Part C. The special drink of the month was an iced mocha. The shop sold 5 times as many iced mochas in 1 week as hot mochas. How many more iced mochas were sold than hot mochas in 4 weeks? Explain. This problem has several steps. First, let's underline the question that it's going to ask us at the end. In the end, we need to find out how many more iced mochas were sold than hot mochas in 4 weeks. Next, we want to find out what we already know. The special drink of the month was an iced mocha. The shop sold 5 times as many iced mochas in 1 week as hot mochas. So we can see that a mocha they sell 200. And that is for a hot mocha because all of these drinks at the top are hot. If you look at the top, it says number of hot drinks. So if we know that they sold 5 times as many, we're going to do 200 times 5. We know that we do our basic fact first. 2 times 5 is 10. Then we're going to add 1, 2 zeros. So they sold 1,000 ice mochas in 1 week. That is the first step to the problem. Now we want to find out how many more, which tells me I need to subtract, ice mochas were sold than hot mochas in 4 weeks. So let's find out how many more ice mochas were sold than hot mochas in 1 week and then multiply it by 4. So we have 1,000 hot mochas sold in a week and ice mochas sold in a week, and there are 200 hot mochas sold in a week. So to find the difference, I'm going to subtract. I can't take 2 from 0, so I need to regroup. There are 800 more iced mochas sold than hot mochas in 1 week. But we want to find out how many are sold in 4 weeks. So we're going to take our 800 and we're going to multiply that times 4, and we would get 3,200. Number 17. Mr. Luca would like to purchase a digital keyboard for each of his 3 nieces and 1 nephew. The keyboard costs $415. Mr. Luca thinks the total cost should be about $1,200. Is his answer reasonable? Explain. Well, this is kind of a trick question because it says he wants to purchase the keyboard for his 3 nieces and 1 nephew. 3 plus 1 is 4. So he wants to purchase it for 4 people. And if it costs $415, we can round that to about $400. So the actual cost is going to be closer to $1,600, not $1,200. And what he did that was wrong was he just included his 3 nieces and forgot about the 1 nephew. So no, his answer would not be reasonable. Part B. Write in itself an equation to find out the total cost of the keyboards. Explain why your answer is reasonable. So if we want to find the total cost, we've already established that there are 4 people. So we need to do $415 times 4 people equals. Remember, if you're going to write an equation, make sure you write an equal sign. We're going to figure it out underneath. So 415 times 4. We know that 5 times 4 is 20. Put your 0, regroup your 2. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 more is 6. And 4 times 4 is 16. So our answer is 1,660. And our answer is reasonable because when we rounded it up here, we got 1,600. And 1,600 is close to 1,660. Number 18. Draw lines to match the number of boxes with the total number of that item. So 5 boxes of blank is going to cost what? Think about that. So if we did 5 boxes of push pins, 5 times 500 is going to equal 2,500. 9 boxes of something is going to equal a number over on the right. So if we do 9 boxes of paper clips, 9 times 100 would be 900. 4 boxes of something is going to equal a number on the right. Well, 4 boxes of small erasers, or 4 times 300, would be 1,200, which would leave 7 boxes of staples, and 7 times 3,000 would be 21,000. Number 19. Kara is on a rowing team. She practices by rowing 295 miles every month. Use mental math to find how many miles Kara rows in 6 months. Explain. I am just going to work out this problem. What it's asking you to do with using mental math is to round 295 to 300, multiply that times 6, and then subtract the extra 5 from each number, and 5 times 6 would be 30, so you would subtract 30 from your answer. If that seems confusing to you, go ahead and do it this way. So we have 295 times 6. So 5 times 6 is 30. Put down your 0, regroup your 3. 9 times 6 is 54, plus 3 is 57. Put down your 7, regroup your 5. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 5 is 17. So we have 1,770 miles. Number 20. Select all the partial products for 8 times 321. If we're going to use partial products, we would have 321 times 8. So first we would multiply 1 times 8, and we would get 8. Next, we would multiply 8 times the 2, or 8 times 20. And 8 times 20 is 160. Last, we would multiply 8 times 300. And 8 times 300 is 2,400. So that would be the last choice that I can't quite highlight because it is under the part that I'm writing on. But it should be 2,400. You guys are doing awesome, and you are almost done. Go ahead and cross out numbers 10 and number 11. Look at number 12. Ivan earned $115 a month for working at a grocery store, which are reasonable estimates for the amount of money Ivan would have if he saves all of his money that he earns for 6 months. Well, this is kind of a trick question because there's going to be 2 answers. If we would round it, we know that 100 times 6 is 600. But we also know that the answer is going to be between 600 and 700 because it is greater than 100. So our answer for this problem would be both 600 and 700. When you see this on your test, think about which answers the number is in between. Number 13. A store clerk set 3 boxes filled with 312 pencils on each shelf. How many pencils were placed on the shelf? Draw a bar diagram to solve the problem. We want to find out how many pencils were placed on the shelf. So we know that there are 3 boxes with 312 pencils. When you draw your bar diagram, we're going to separate it into 3 sections. And in each section, you're going to put the numbers 312. If I solve this problem, we are going to get 936 pencils. Number 14. B's Bakery bakes 215 cookies and 45 muffins every hour. How many baked goods are baked in 4 hours? Underline the question. How many baked goods are baked in 4 hours? So we have cookies and muffins. This is a two-step problem. First, you need to add 215 cookies plus 45 muffins to figure out how many baked goods there are. So if I add these up, I get 260 baked goods. Now we're going to multiply that by 4 hours. 6 times 4 is 24. Regroup your 2. So we get 1,040 baked goods. I'm going to put BG for baked goods just because it's hard for me to write in 1 hour. Number 15. 4 buses are available for a field trip. Each bus can hold 48 people. Write and solve an equation that can be used to find the number of people the buses can hold. Remember, an equation is an equal sign. So we have 48 people times 4 buses. If I multiply 48 times 4, I know 4 times 8 is 32. Put your 2, regroup your 3. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 3 more is 19. So the buses can hold 192 people. Last question. Number 16. Mrs. Henderson bought 4 boxes of facial tissues. Each box has 147 tissues. Which is the best estimate for the total number of tissues Miss Henderson bought? So here we're just looking for an estimate. We want to know which is the best estimate for the total number of tissues. So I would take 174 and round that to 200 times 4 boxes, which would give me 800 as the best estimate. Now you have completed the topic 3 assessment review. Please go back and see if there are any questions that you are unsure of. The one with the coffee and the latte, that one was a little confusing, but there is one like that on your test. When you are finished, show me your work, all the notes that you took, and your review, and I will give you your assignment.